Perfect. So finally, we made it.
So it's a pleasure to introduce Ale. Ale is a founder of VibeFlow that is currently in the summer 2025 Y Combinator batch. And she will talk about her experience, starting from her master in ETH and then going to her experience in Esri. She worked in Esri, that is a company that builds procedural models of cities, and then finally to how she started thinking about startup and how she got into the YC batch and how things are going today. So
Yes.
welcome, Ade.
So hi everyone. So as Elisabetta said, I'm Alessia, and I am the founder of VibeFlow. And VibeFlow is an AI app builder that allows non-technical people to build full-stack applications, so front-end and back-end in no-code. VibeFlow is part of the YC Summer 25 batch. So I'm just going to give you a quick introduction of the problem that we solve, and then I'm going to go through the whole journey that we went through with my co-founder. So right now, there are many tools out there like Lovable. I'm pretty sure everyone heard about that. That allows you to vibe code cool UIs very quickly, but it doesn't give you a backend. And right now they're trying to introduce to put integrations into code, but it's still on the front-end side and it has zero security. So what Lovable users are trying to do is to combine several tools together. One of them is Anyten. Anyten is a workflow automation tool that works in no code. So it has visual workflows and Supabase as a database. So they put together these three tools to obtain full stack applications. And this is a pretty hacky solution. And the reason is that Anyten doesn't give you code. So you're not owning the full code base of your application. And your application lives in different platforms. So it's not optimal. Other than the fact that, of course, there is a security problem because all the API endpoints of Anyten are public. Therefore, your applications are not very secure. So this is what VibeFlow is solving. And we provide an interface for the user to type in a prompt, and we generate directly the full stack application. Here on this image, you see an example of a landing page. So we have a landing page like the UI on the right and the visual backend on the left. So it combines the speed of AI with the control of no-code tools. So user can actually go into these nodes and manually tweak the parameters or add new API endpoints and continue developing and maintaining the application. But I want to go through the whole journey that we had to go through with my co-founder, because I personally worked for 4 years as a software engineer, and I was always into wanting to do something more. I wanted to do something more ambitious, and I always saw that working for a corporate put upper bound to what I could obtain. And so I started doing a lot of side projects on my free time. Meanwhile, in the company, I was doing a sort of a startup inside the company, because they gave me a whole new project, which I brought from design concept to full market release, which was a product which was very, very similar to what VibeFlow is today, because it allowed people to visually program workflows that could allow them to model 3D models, so 3D models of cities and buildings. And the reason was that this company had a very cool custom grammar that their ICP, which was architects, were not able to use because, of course, they were not technical. So this was the solution, and this allowed me to have a lot of experience in no-code tools, like, for example, what Unreal Engine is doing today with Blueprints, or Grasshopper in Rhino. And this, let's say that this concept was brought afterwards in what VibeFlow is today. But going back to the whole journey, so I quit my job. I decided to quit my job because I wanted to understand what I wanted to do in life, and I didn't have any safety net. So I quit my job in September, and I started talking with a lot of people. I had many options. One was doing a PhD. So I talked to around 40 people doing PhDs. But then I discarded the option of doing a PhD, mostly because a lot of people were not happy And it made me wonder about if it was a good choice or not, but mostly because also I love to build. Like I realized I just love to build. So I took 3 months in which I built all kind of possible applications. So I did most random application. I developed an iOS application for face generation, like stable diffusion face generation. I built a music generator tool. Yeah, I built a lot of stuff, and doing that made me realize that I really love to build products that people can use and bring value to people. So after that, I started looking for a co-founder. And you can look for co-founders in the Y Combinator co-founder matching platform. It's a very nice platform where you can just, like, it's like dating basically for startups. But it's also really hard because you don't know these people. Like, you see their curriculum, but you don't know the people. And when you want to work with a person and you want to build a startup with a person, it's almost like a marriage. So you have to expect you're going to spend all of your time with the person. And you need to trust the person from a personal point of view and from a technical point of view, like a way of working. Otherwise, it's really, really hard. And I didn't know anyone that was that to me, apart from Elia. And Elia, she was a friend of mine, but I never considered working with her because she was on a very different side. Like, she wanted to do biotech. She wanted to do something on the medical side and on the biotech side. And I was more on the development tool side and on computer graphics, because I have a master in computer graphics. So we couldn't understand how we could have worked well together. She, at the time, she was doing Entrepreneur First in Paris. And Entrepreneur First is a entrepreneurship program, which is similar to Y Combinator, just in Europe. So I joined her there and we started working together. And this was last November. Since November, it was a whole roller coaster. So we started having this approach of validating problems very, very fast. And how we did that was we talked to so many people. We cold outreach a lot of people on LinkedIn. And everyone just wanted to hop on a call with us and talk about the problems that they had. And this is the best approach to actually start working on something, because what a lot of people do is that they just start working on solutions for no problems. And if you start working for like the perfect solution for something and you don't have anyone that is willing to actually pay for that, because it's not a hair on fire problem, it's not going to be a good startup. Like, you're not going to have revenue. It's not going to be a good choice. So as you can see here, I put a lot of topics that we went through. We started from microbiome deep tech, like we wanted to analyze the microbiome data to provide additional info on drug discovery. And this was mostly my co-founder's edge, but I was very open. I was very open to go into this topic and see how we could provide value to companies. And we actually joined an incubator in Paris, which was working very closely to Servier, which is a pharma company. But then we realized that it was very, very deep tech. So it would have taken years for us to actually develop a solution that could have been profitable. And we didn't want that. So we started going through many different markets. We went shadowing a dermatology clinic in Switzerland. And we realized that they had a lot of problems with compliance. So one option was to provide a solution for them to make compliance documentation much faster and easier without errors. But it was very boring, so we discarded that. Then we went into computer vision skin analysis because, I have a background in computer science and computer vision. We had a good investor that wanted to invest in us with this solution, and he had a lot of contacts in this field. But at the end, it was a space which was not so interesting for us. And doing this, we realized that we were trying to validate problems and finding problems all over the places, but it was not what we wanted to do. We wanted to do something that we were really passionate about, because if you want to do that for the next 5 years of your life, every day, all the time, then you need to be passionate about that. The last random idea was a software for computing the ROI, or organic content creation for influencer marketing. And this came from the fact that we worked for a friend that was doing organic content creation for influencer marketing. And we got a lot of money, but he didn't have this amount of ROI. So he was struggling with that. So we found another problem there. And it was very fun. But at the end, we went back to our main passion and edge, which is developer tools and software engineering and AI, because Elia has a master in AI and data science, and I have a master in computer science. So we just said, okay, let's focus on that. And we talked to a friend that was doing an AI builder for mobile apps. And we tried all of the apps out there. So Lovable, Replit, all of these applications that give you, as I said before, a quick front end. Some, like Replit, give you also a quick backend, but it's still a black box. And if the ICP of these companies is non-technical people, it's a problem because they don't know what's happening in the backend, and it cannot even prompt. So if you try to ask the chat to do something and you don't even have the words to express that, it's a problem. And this is why we brought this visual program. Like we created a visual language basically for people to express what they wanted in the backend. As I said, yes, we are a technical team here. Elia is doing the CEO. Right now she's having investor calls. And she did research actually here in Stanford and at Sony AI at InstaDeep. And she worked as a founding engineer at a VC-backed startup in Zurich, while I worked as a software engineer for Esri in Zurich, and I developed what I told you before, so this no-code tool for people to be able to programmatically develop 3D models. And yeah, so we launched 3 weeks ago. So YC, how it works is that you arrive and everyone expects that it's like a school or something like that. Like you have a lot of courses and lectures, but it's not like that. You come and you basically close yourself in your apartment for 2.5 months straight. And you don't go out, you just work all the time with your co-founder, which sounds like, I mean, if you're a hardcore, you can do it, of course, but it's not easy. Like it's not easy, and you need to launch very, very soon, because if you launch very, very soon, YC gives you all the possible social platforms to have a lot of visibility. So it brings, like, we launched with YC around 3 weeks ago, and we got so much inbound from that launch. And we discovered also new customers because we thought that our tool would have been useful for consumers, but we realized, for example, that a lot of businesses need solution like that, because there are a lot of solo entrepreneurs that want to put out ideas of startups or test MVPs, or simply like build functional MVPs very, very fast for like if they are product managers, for example, right? Or people that want to build micro SaaS very fast. And right now they cannot, other than, of course, hiring developers to do that, but they don't really want to make the effort to do that, or they don't trust the developers because a lot of them betrayed them. And so they came to us to request custom solutions. So right now, for us, it's really interesting because we are testing various assumptions that we had about integrations that we wanted to include in our application, and we are iterating over that. And we launched on Sunday on Product Hunt, and we got first product of the day, which was a nice success. So this is the background of VibeFlow and the whole experience. And I want now to know from you if you have any questions about the YC experience and how this whole journey works.
Maybe I can start with one question, which would be, can you describe a little bit the path to getting into YC, specifically at what point did you have the idea, or actually how did you get the idea to apply? And then the individual steps, how does it work? Maybe how did you prepare?
So I applied twice to YC last year and once this year. And the process of applying to YC is not that complicated. Like you have a whole form to fill out about your idea, the problem that you're solving, the traction that you're having, and what they look at is mostly, first of all, the team. So the team needs to be strong. And I'm talking about, of course, technically strong. They prefer technical teams, but also from like how long have you known each other? How do we know that you're going to stay together? How do you work together? Have you ever worked together? So you need to have some kind of past with the person that shows that you are a good team, first of all. And second, a lot of times people apply with ideas that are not going to make it. And they know that, but they want to see how you reason. So first of all, if your application makes sense and is well, argumented, and you are justifying the numbers that you put, the traction that you got, how you validated the problem. They want to see that if you're talking to your users and stuff like that. But a lot of people just pivot. So they get into YC and their partner just tell them, your idea is really bad. There is not the big market, you're not gonna make it, but we really like you, so we want you in the batch. So for us, it was really fast. We filled up the application, I think, in 1 day. But there is a lot of work that you need to do very fast. So you have to put out an MVP for people to test, and you need to gather as much feedback as you want from users. So after that, you just submit the application, and then you wait for a response, which usually happens 1 month afterwards. And the interview process is really, really interesting because it's a 15 minutes call, and it's very fast and sharp. So they ask you questions very fast, and you have to answer in 15 seconds. If you are longer, they interrupt you. So it's like it's a stress test, and they need to see, again, cohesion between the team members, and yeah, they value based on that. After that, it could be that you have a second interview. We did have a second interview because they tell you if you're in or if they have additional questions. Sometimes they even roast you. So it happened to people, not to us, but to people, it happened that they got the second interview and they had to defend their idea for half an hour. And it was kind of a roasting, but at the end, they already know if they want you in the batch or not. So this is more or less the process of getting into SC. And of course, the partner that interviews you, that chooses you, is the partner that is going to help you throughout the batch, and is going to provide you with the office hours and stuff like that.
Yeah. Thanks for the presentation. It was really, really nice. A few questions. So first of all, why do you think you succeeded in this year's application with respect to last year's? Did you apply this year already with VibeFlow as an idea, or did you end up pivoting, as you mentioned? And also, could you comment on the office hours and the support from the partners?
Yeah. So okay. So first of all, from last year, I think what changed is that I quit my job. They want to see people that are able to quit their jobs and they're able to go full in. I didn't have any safety net, but I just quit my job, and this was a very, very bold move, because imagine you have a nice job in Zurich, well paid, and you just, you quit. My mom was not very happy in that moment, but I did it, and I think that was a great sign to prove them that I was full in. But also founder market fit for sure. If you are working on an idea which is completely different than what your expertise is, it doesn't make so much sense. We were able to make the application to find a story that made a lot of sense for us, because Elia had this expertise in AI and data science, so she's very good with prompting LLMs and all the part that is responsible for code generation through LLM, for example, right? And I had the whole story of the product that I built at the company. So this was a very good sign for them, in my opinion. And they also like persistence. There are people that apply 10 times before getting in YC. So I think these points are all, they all played a good role. Then you asked me...
did you apply with VibeFlow?
Yes. We applied in May with VibeFlow, but VibeFlow was just an idea. We didn't have any product. So we applied with an idea. We did a visual demo. We put it out on Twitter, and we got a lot of likes. We got contacted by a company that is we are now partnering with for the backend. And it was just a visual demo. So that's what I'm saying. You don't need to reach the perfect product and have a lot of users before. You need to show that you have a huge market, that you have good feedback from early users. That's fine, but the product doesn't have to be perfect.
Amazing. And then the last one I asked.
The partners. Yes. So the partners, what they do is they organize every 2 weeks. So you have every 2 weeks an individual office hour with your partner, where you go with your co-founder, and before that you fill out an agenda where you put the points that you want to discuss, and it's always usually around 25 minutes, half an hour. And the weeks where you don't have the individual office hours, you have group office hours, which is really, really cool, because they they group together all the startups that are in a similar space. For example, for us, it was the consumer space, because we thought we were like really focusing on consumers. And it's cool because you meet with all these companies, you stay there for 1-2 hours, and you discuss like metrics or goals every week. So you have the chance to compare yourself to other startups, and you do better. So this is what they provide. And of course, like they organize a lot of talks during the batch with people that are amazing. So we had just the other day the talk of Paul Graham, which is an icon. But yeah, they just call people, like I think they call the head of product of Figma. They called Brian Chesky. It depends on who they call, but usually they organize these talks.
Okay, nice. Thank you.
I have a question maybe. Like you were saying this thing that in your YC Combinator application, you had to include also some evidence that your product was actually having some traction. And then you talk about likes on Twitter, like how do you provide this data?
Yeah, like depends on which metrics you have available. So if you already have a product out, you can say like daily active users or weekly active users or who are the recurring users, who is paying, how many people are paying, how much are they paying, what is your revenue. We didn't have revenue back then. So we just had a number of users that we interviewed and what we learned from them. So if you're able to properly find a good storytelling there and show that you actually learned important points, practical points, they're happy. If you have no input from the user, they're never going to be happy. User or client, of course. Especially if you go consumer, like you need to test this. If you go business, probably it's letter of intent or even contract signed.
You need a visual demo. So what did you put in Twitter? How much was already there? Was there any code written, or was it just some Figma thing?
No, there was like a very it was just like a front end demo. Like we just, of course, like there was the code for the front end that was showing the functionality, but the product was not there. So we wanted to simply show the concept and the solution, and we got a lot of people excited about that. So yeah, this was our feedback in that moment.
What are you most important channels for feedback, for collecting feedback from users?
For now, we have a Discord community, and people just like to join it and tell us about maybe if they have a problem, they write it there in the support community. If they have feature requests, they write it there. So this is mostly for consumers. For businesses, instead, they just book a call, and we have a lot of calls every week with them, and they by doing that, we see the patterns of what they need. And this is very, very important. Like YC always tells you, you need either to spend all of your time building the product or talking to users. So one of the two. And of course, like right now we are 2 people. So either like I build and she talks to users, or she builds and I talk to users. And yeah, you split the task like this.
So what's the process of talking to user? Like how do you decide to who you want to talk? How do you reach out to them? Which channels do you use to select the kind of users that you think are interesting?
It depends on the stage, I would say, because right now for us, we don't have to reach out to users because they come to us.
Yes.
And this is
really beginning when you were still like kind of pivoting from.
At the very beginning, you can look into communities that are using other tools, similar tools. Like for example, for us, it was communities of no-code tools like Make or Zapier, Anyten, Bubble. So you can go into the Discord community. You can just write directly to people. You can go in Reddit. Reddit is amazing. They always complain about everything. So you can validate so many assumptions in Reddit, and you can write to people. So these are the channels that we mainly used. Other than that, we were working from a student project house at ETH, and we were surrounded by so many people. So we just went around talking to everyone. Like we literally put a QR code in the elevator with a Google form. And we said, we give you chocolate if you reply to this form, and people fill it up. So there are many ways, and this is early stage. Then later stage, of course, as I said, they come to you, and what do you do in these interviews? It depends. So if your goal is to do customer interviews related to, for example, the UX or UI of the product, you can let them use the tool. So you don't say anything. You say, okay, now open the platform and do whatever you want to do. And you don't say anything. So you want to see how they work with the tool, because what you assume is not always right. So I think people are going to use the tool in a specific way, but maybe like the other day we had a guy that just put, instead of a prompt, he put the whole code into the prompt section. So you don't know, like they do just unexpected things, they do random stuff. So you have to understand that. And this is a very good way to understand how they think and how they use their product. And then there are, of course, other types of interviews. Like, for example, if you need to understand their needs, you ask a lot of questions about what their priority is, what their problem is, how they are solving it right now. And yeah, there are a lot of frameworks to do these interviews. Good?
Anything else? More questions? No? If not, let's thank the speaker again.
Thank you.